Good morning, Chair Gibson, members of the Commission. My name is Athar Haseebullah. I serve as the Executive Director for the American Civil Liberties Union of Nevada. I too am here in opposition to item number 65 with a request that this matter be trailed or tabled for the next 30 to 60 days to provide a meaningful opportunity for stakeholders to engage with the bill sponsor. I've had an opportunity to speak to the bill sponsor. We haven't reached a consensus yet. Our goal is to avoid threatening you with litigation. I know that's always the headline with the ACLU. As it stands right now, though, we would be firmly opposed to this because of its chilling impact on the First Amendment. With 30 to 60 days to be able to trail this matter and have meaningful stakeholder conversations with individuals who are directly impacted, like street performers, with civil liberties groups like ours, with union members who often use those overpasses to engage in expressive conduct, and also with law enforcement in the district attorney's office. This will provide a meaningful opportunity for everybody to get together to sort through this. We may not end up reaching a resolution, but certainly from our perspective, it would be prudent use of resources to be able to trail that conversation so this doesn't automatically result in litigation. I will tell you, if this bill is passed today in its current iteration, we'll be prepared to file a lawsuit within the next 2 weeks on it. We would rather avoid that and try to work towards a resolution. We don't think it's a good use of the county's resources to be going down this pathway at this point in time, but perhaps with 30 to 60 days, there could be consensus reached around language, perhaps not, but at least it would be a good faith effort. We would hate to see the first time all the stakeholders getting together on this item to be in depositions during an open matter proceeding with litigation. With that, happy to answer any questions after this meeting for any of the commissioners that might have interest, and looking forward, if this matter isn't voted upon today, to work with the bill sponsor to be able to have those conversations at a wider level. Thank you. For the record, Athar Haseebullah, first name spelled A-T-H-A-R, last name H-A-S-E-E-B-U-L-L-A-H, Executive Director for the American Civil Liberties Union of Nevada. I was not intending on commenting again. However, after the presentation that just occurred, I feel I'd be remiss if I didn't. The notion that data is not collectible when they just put together a propaganda video to show a series of incidents from Fusion Center surveillance is ridiculous. Quite frankly, it's ridiculous. Even the notion that the Tropicana Bridge already has this regulation in place and no data has been provided from the Tropicana Bridge to show it's available. I have not seen a non-data driven decision made by this county in some time. This would be a travesty of significant proportions. Not only is this unconstitutional, and regardless of what's said, this has not been upheld by a circuit court. The United States Supreme Court's progeny of law since would deem this unconstitutional. It's terrible policy. To suggest we have selective enforcement is ripe for abuse. We can talk about the unions, but why don't we talk about the protests of summer of 2020, when individuals did not recognize that they were going to unlawfully be detained for exercising their First Amendment right. Effectively, what we're being told right now is street performers won't be targeted. You have an individual here that's testifying that literally received a $100,000 payout for poor enforcement. It would be financially imprudent for this county to do so. It would be illogical. Our request was a 30 to 60 day period to discuss to see if any resolutions could be reached. To try to cram something through without any data to support that notion would be ridiculous. One more thing that I might add at this point. There is no exigent circumstance that's occurring, because if we have 33 million visitors to Southern Nevada each year, 33 million, that was during a down year in 2021. And we can point to 10 incidents when there's a fusion center that is surveilling that area consistently. What is the actual number? Certainly with the $50 million increase that LVMPD just sought out, they can equip staff to be able to review and actually collect data there. But to say that there is no data is totally absurd. I would have appreciated at least if they came forward and shared what that data perspective looked like. We have 5,000 incidents or 10,000 incidents, or even the number of complaints they've received. Not one single portion of what was shared besides sleeping would be something that they can't already ticket someone for, arrest somebody for. Masturbating in public urination. They're citing people constantly for this. There are already criminal offenses for this. So effectively what we're doing is creating an exception so people can't sleep on these overpasses or they can't perform on the street. If it's an issue related to sleeping, then call this the City of Las Vegas's camping ordinance, and that could also probably be challenged under Boise versus Martin. And if it's to target street performers, that goes far beyond the pale of what was said. I'd encourage this county again to put this over for the period that was asked for, to coalesce the stakeholders. Do not cram this through, and if there is a need, they can pull the data, or at least pull their complaint statistics to be able to show what's going on. It's totally absurd to not have any data for a presentation of this nature when it's collectible. Thank you.
Sophia Romero, R-O-M-E-R-O, Senior Staff Attorney, ACLU of Nevada. I think we can all agree that the language as it's currently written is ambiguous. None of us seem to know what would be allowed or not allowed. We don't know if we can stop and take pictures. We don't know if we can be a street performer. All we do know is that things that are already illegal is what we hope to be targeting. But these things are already illegal. Somebody cannot just sleep in an elevator for an hour and a half. That's already illegal. It's already in your code, okay? The only time this mentions the First Amendment is under obstructive use. There's no carve out under permitted uses for street performers. There's no carve out for protests. There's no, other than for the National Labor Relations Board. Passing this ordinance will just be a basis for pretextual stops and will affect street performers and those wishing to exercise their free speech more than anyone else. Again, we ask for a 30 to 60-day extension in order to get all of the stakeholders together and come up with a realistic solution. This unfortunately seems to be more of an enforcement or resource issue. We do not believe that this ordinance, this legislation, would be the solution to the problem that you guys are seeking. Thank you.